Okay, so here is a video where we're going to talk about how to tell whether a relationship is a function or not, based on the previous definition, which was that if it's a function, there's one output and only one output for each input. So let's look at this first example. Let's say d is the distance driven by a car in 2 hours when that car is going at a speed r. And the question is d a function of r? So remember the word of means that this is the input here, r is the input. So for each speed that you can go, if you know the car is going that speed for 2 hours, do you know the distance it can go? And let's think about maybe if there's an equation you know about this, that would help. And that equation is distance equals rate times time. So rate times 2 here. And if you know a value of r, are you only going to get one value of d from that? The answer is yes. You can take any number and multiply it by 2. There's only going to be one result. So the answer to this is yes. In other words, if you know r, you can determine d. There's only one d that comes from that r. Let's look at this next one. If T is a person's score on the SAT exam and Q is their score on an IQ test, is T a function of Q? And remember, this notation means that Q is the input. Q is the input. So in other words, for each value of Q, if you know somebody's score on an IQ test, is there only one SAT score that they could get? And the answer is no, because different people with the same IQ result might score differently. So that means if there's one value of Q that goes with more than one T, it's not a function. Let's look at some more examples. So with this one, we've got a table with 3 variables: patient number, age, and cholesterol count, which are just repeated here with more data. So first question, is cholesterol count a function of patient number? So in other words, this is saying that cholesterol count is the output. If we say, is that a function of? But then what's after the of is going to be the input. And is it true that for each input you have exactly one output and no more than one? So let's look at each of the patient numbers, and you'll notice that they're in order. We have 301, 308. 301 here corresponds with 217. So if the input's 301, the output's 217, and that's fine. And there's no other 301s here. And you'll notice that they're actually in order. So they're in order by patient number, and none of them are repeating themselves. And each patient here has exactly one cholesterol count. So that means we can say that, yes, for each one of the inputs here, there's exactly one output. So cholesterol count is a function of patient number. Then let's see, is cholesterol count a function of age? So now we're thinking of age as the input variable here. So is it true that if you pick a certain age, you're only going to get one cholesterol count from that? And let's see, let's pick an age, I don't know, 47. Okay, there's 147 here that goes with 203, and there's no other places where 47 appears. But then you might look at another one, like, oh wait, here's 53. This 53 goes along with this 53, and there are 2 different 53-year-olds that have the same cholesterol count. So the answer to this is no. And now you might be thinking of, in regular everyday English, the answer to this question is maybe yes. Like, the older you get, the higher your cholesterol gets in general, I think. in everyday English, when you say a function of age, that it doesn't mean exactly the same thing as math. In English, it just kind of means age affects the cholesterol count, which is probably true, but there's other things that affect it as well. And as long as there are other things affecting the cholesterol count, like your diet, like your genetics, like whether you exercise or not, all of those things are also factors. But you can't just say that in math, you can't say that cholesterol count is a function of age, because some ages have multiple cholesterol counts. Okay, next here is an exercise for you to do on your own. Decide whether each table describes y as a function of x. So remember here, the of x means that x is the input. Anyways, I'll leave you to it, and I'll see you in the next video.